Good day, good day, good day. My name is Mr. Wayne TMT Brown. I am one of the great leaders here with a great company called My Econ Incorporated. And today we want to do a training from a good business partner and friend of mine, Mr. Harrington. And he is a phenomenal teacher. This is pre recorded. It was a training course that we've done together some time ago, but I want to be a blessing to you so that you can too can understand the difference between building a team and a group. So if you're out there and you're already an entrepreneur, allow this training to assist you. If you need additional training, just leave a comment there under this video, and someone will get in touch with you momentarily. We all about helping entrepreneurs. We're all about helping people when it comes to their personal finances. We're all about helping you accelerate your success through asset accumulation and other wealth creation strategies. So without further ado, let's go ahead and learn the difference between building a team and building a group. You are definitely in for a treat.
All right, welcome back. Hopefully you've enjoyed the intro and that prepped your brain, your mind to get into what we're actually here to talk about at this course. If you haven't checked out video number one, go check out video number one. We use a couple different models and tools to really help us inform us where we're at so that we can prep to get into aspirational thinking and starting to develop some really good plans. So let's talk about teams. There is a wealth of information about teams and how teams develop, self-directed work teams. Again, as I mentioned in my intro video, I had the pleasure of serving with my family's firm, who had been doing team building work for 30 years and really wrote the book on team building and self-directed work teams. And so it's called the Team Building Toolkit and Keeping the Team Going. And you can check those out on Amazon. So really I've tried to boil as much down just to fit into a coursework like this. There again is a lot on teams and teaming, but we try and go over a little bit of the general idea of teams. And believe it or not, teams you don't throw a bunch of people together and it all works out. And many of you on this course will probably nod your head and say, nope, it doesn't. And it's probably one of the hardest things as a leader and as a manager and as a supervisor to do. There's so much more around emotional intelligence and trying to build a relationship with your team to get them to do anything, let alone embrace your vision, which is part of the other part of this course. So we're going to take some time in this video and in the next video to talk about how teams form and the actual psychological relationship-based things that you need to do as a leader to get them motivated. So let's dig right into it. One of my arguments is when you look at this coursework and some of the other coursework, especially in light of kind of the pre-COVID and post-COVID years, is a lot of people want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. A lot of people say, well, this is just a reckoning and we need to just change all business models, change all business structures. There's no such thing as strategic planning. Don't build a vision. It won't last long. Who cares about teams? They're not even working in person anymore. And I couldn't disagree more with that statement. I think systems change, the culture changes, the next buzzword changes. Maybe organizations change a little bit too, but the concept and the fundamentals of building a team and creating a vision don't ever change. And I want to kind of prove that to you through this course as you go through the course with me. First, I want you to take a little pause like we did in the first video. I want you to think about, what do you think has changed for workplace teams during COVID? Or post-COVID, if you're watching this and we're over the pandemic, what has changed? And the low-hanging fruit, the easiest answer is we've gone more digital. We've gone more remote working. We've had to bring teams from all various aspects of the world, the country, different houses together. But what are some other things that have changed for you personally as you signed up for this course wanting to learn more about teaming and team building? What has changed in the last 12 months for you? So you pause the video, write some of the concepts down, and join me again. Again, I'll go back to the idea that the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. You know, some things are bygones, and we remember that in 9/11, pre and post. We remember that in 2008 and the Great Recession, pre and post. We're probably going to experience that a lot with COVID. And so, how do we not fight the things that need to die and let them die? And how do we move forward on building the new? And what does that mean for your team? Here's some of the thoughts that I have around what hasn't changed when you're leading a team, and hopefully some of this resonates with you. So let's think about some of the things that have not changed, whether you're talking Zoom calls, digital, you're looking at Basecamp, you're using any type of new platform or app. What still has not changed with human beings when we put them all together? One, every team focuses around accountability. I have to trust that you're going to do the work, that you're going to trust me that I do the work. We're going to be held accountable to the company, the nonprofit, the organization. We're going to be accountable to the team leader or sponsor. Accountability still goes a long way, whether you're digital or physical. Communication is still huge, and sometimes I think that we plug into everything, hoping that it's actually going to change the communication problem we often have at work. And the newest app and the newest cell phone, sometimes most of the time it doesn't actually help anything. It doesn't change anything, and sometimes it even makes it worse. But communication still is critical and important as we look at teams. What else? Coaching. So if you're on a team and you're joining this course, great, and I hope you take a lot from it. If you're a coach of a team, and remember, if you're the boss of the organization, the CEO, or a team leader, or your department sponsors a team, coaching is still huge. Again, whether you're digital or in person. Conflict still happens. Amen? Right? We still get it. We still get, you might be in the Basecamp and you may be talking with your team, and there's going to be a passive aggressive text from one of your team people to you about what that person did that didn't do whatever. The conflict still exists. They triangle all the same, right? And when we look at triangling, it isn't about going from the person that created the offense and the person who's offended and talking together. They create a triangle and they talk to you about it, right? You're the supervisor, you're the coach. And so we find that conflict still happens, whether it's pre-COVID, post-COVID, digital, or in person. Great, strong decision-making still also needs to happen. If anything, we need decision-making happening faster. And how do we choose to decide? Oftentimes we hop right into the decision, and I'm not sure the team has decided how they want to decide. Is this going to be by vote? Are we going to pull the shortest straw? Is this by consensus? Do we all have to agree? Is this supermajority? Interesting concept of we still have to decide how to decide, but decision-making still needs to happen on teams regardless of what's happening in the world. Performance. People are still going to measure the performance of a team. Teams, especially in workplaces that have a profit, are either going to live or die based on how well they perform. And finally, time management. And there's probably more that I could go on, but time management is still going to be huge. If anything, time management is even harder now, especially as people work from home, remote work, hop on a team meeting. To be honest with you, I've been on a bunch where people just lapse and don't even hop on the meeting anymore. And you kind of go, hey, we still have that Monday team meeting, the Monday huddle, the Monday scrum. Oh, right. So time management and also getting that project across the finish line on time is hugely important. I want to challenge some of our thoughts around teams versus groups. And I want you to think, do you have a group that you're leading, or do you have a team that's self-directed under your leadership? Here's from The Wisdom of Teams, a book. A group is a small group of people led by a leader who are committed to the leader's goal and approach and held accountable by the leader. Different from a team. A team is a small group of people with complementary skills and abilities committed to their common goal and approach for which they hold each other accountable for. So, which one are you leading or which one are you coaching? And those are sometimes used, two words interchangeably, but in this sense, I want to use them very different and distinct. You can be a leader of a group that you tell people what to do, or you can be a coach where you guide them, but in the end, the consensus of the team, a group of people under the common goal, and hold each other accountable. Again, that triangling we talked about with conflict, all of a sudden they're not coming to you, you're the coach. They have to go to each other. That's the commitment on a team. So again, think about, you have a group or team, and there's really no wrong or right answer, and more or less, you still have some of the team dynamics in a group, but I think it's an important distinction to make. In any organization, there are three things happening, and we'll finish up this video and we'll hop into team development next video, so stay tuned. But before we get to team development, there are three things happening in work and on teams across the world at any given time. Three plates spinning, or as I like to call it, three trains leaving the station. And you'll get my analogy as we progress through it. Three trains leaving the station, and those three elements happen to be task. What do we have to do? We have to build the iPad. We have to make Starbucks coffee. We have to build the widget, do the service. Nonprofits, we have to listen to our members and do workshops and things that help our members grow. So task, process. Process is how are we going to do that? So many of us have protocols, processes, guidelines, HR books. That's the process on how we're going to do it. It is how we're going to start each day and end each day. Here's our checkout. Here's how we lead strategic plans. Here's how we're going to do that. The what, the how. Now, the last thing that really is important in business and in organizations is relationships, right? We often hear business is all about relationships, but if you think about it, once you have the product, once you have the how you're going to make the product or sell the product or service, it's all about the people. And we know that the best companies are defined not by, quite frankly, a good product, because Dell can make a computer, Apple can make a computer, people can make cell phones, doesn't really matter. It's about the people in that organization that drive the special, great organizations. So here's the question for you. As we have these all spinning, right, at any given time, we have three trains leaving the station. Which element do you think gets the least amount of attention and time? And especially in America, where do you think, let me reframe that question. Where do you think we spend most of our time in American business? We focus on task, on getting it done. We're the get it done nation. Just get her done, right? And so we develop products. That's what we do very well. Some of our better companies, their second thing they focus on is process, right? Some of the best companies we have really good processes. Airports and airplanes are great processes. We have to follow every single one of those rules. And believe it or not, when you think about it, most planes land. So the process comes next. What is the element, the one last remaining, that we don't spend enough time on? We all know it. It's relationships. I think sometimes we don't even know how to. We know how, like, once work started, it created this break or this division between bosses and subordinates, and all of a sudden it's a bunch of adults, but everybody has a ranking and a tier system. We don't know how to work within that because we're all usually just trying to have a drink at a bar or being with family, right? So we all stand on equal ground, but not at work. There's authority levels and it gets messy. So when we look at teams, guess what? I'm going to ask you to focus on all three. And I hope that gives you kind of a lens to look through. And I want you to also, as you go into your team meetings, work with your teams, be thinking, what have we stressed a lot in this meeting or in the year together? Maybe tasks. Did we get the product out? Got to get the product out the door. We worked a lot on processes. We built a charter. We did meeting agendas. We really tightened our ship with processes, how we do things. How we spend a lot of time in relationship building, the important stuff. It doesn't always have to be a trust fall or team building adventure course. It's really about building relationships. What have you done as a coach and as a leader to call your people up, to text them, to check in on them? So again, when we look at teams and even broader, when we look at organizations and businesses, all three of those plates have to be spinning. And they're like trains leaving a station. Oftentimes, task is the first train to leave it and it's going fast. Maybe right behind it is process. And the one way back, still in the center here at the train station, moving along is relationship. And our job as leaders and team coaches is to get all those trains going 100 miles an hour all at the same time, leaving the station at once. And that's the chore. So hopefully you've enjoyed this other video, and you'll join me next video for team development. And this is all going to be around the psychology of what happens when we put people together and tell them to be a team. Thanks again.